So you can't do.
This doesn't make sense for absolute, right? Because absolute is kind of it takes it out of the flow of the it takes it out of the flow of the context of the page. So if it doesn't make sense to keep searching left for another object because it doesn't see anything.
But relative takes it out of the flow.
No, relative does not. Relative and static does not.
Fixed does, yeah. Okay.
Fixed and absolute. Okay. Also, whenever you use float, make sure. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, with floating, do you have to worry about resizing the browser and then elements moving around?
So typically the trick with float is that you have a general like a static element that you set in like the middle or something, and then this where you set with like margin left or margin right, and then you make that's like a center div, and then you float with respect to that, so it'll always like hit that center element.
Oh,
okay. But if you do float with respect to the boundaries of the body, yeah, you do have to worry about. If the browser is not large enough to support these two things floated next to each other, they'll go on different lines. So yes. Any other questions?
We'll go over it again. We'll go over this again next week. So don't worry if you still like are kind of confused.
And every time you use float, make sure you set the height and width of the object, or else there's weird things that can happen with float. Yeah. And clear is specifically used with float. Clear is basically saying you kind of force an object to appear after any left or right floated objects. So here's an example. It's kind of hard to explain. So in this demo, basically this is a float. This is a float right, and this is a float left. And this is also a float left. But what I've done is I've said in this. In this paragraph here, I've said that this paragraph has the attribute clear left. Okay, so that means don't put anything on my left. I want my left clear basically. And so floated elements, this gets put onto a new page instead of kind of like this where it's kind of pushed up next to it, because this left side is clear. Everybody get that?
And what kind of attributes is that? Is that just something you just put in there? And like
yeah. You kind of just say
it's clear. It's a CSS property, and it's called clear.
Yeah. For example, you would say P clear left. Okay? And then you can say clear left, right, or both. Default is not. So I'm going to go really quick through Photoshop, and a lot of basically your lab is basically like an introduction to Photoshop. So we're not going to go too much. We're going to go through this pretty quickly. This is basically what Photoshop should look like, and how you should set up in lab. You should have your layers and history on the right side, and then your toolbar on the left side, and then your canvas in the middle.
Has everyone used Photoshop already once in their life?
Yeah.
Who doesn't have any experience with Photoshop? It's totally fine. Okay.
Okay, we'll go. And so these are the names for the portions of the screen that we're going to be using. And then the tools. Basically, there are a lot of tools on the left side of the toolbar, and you can if there's kind of like a black arrow on the bottom right of each on the icon, you can click and hold it, and that means that there's other versions of the tool. So, yeah. And the top bar displays the top bar, which is this. Displays options that if you select the tool, you can have options for that. You can select further options for each tool you use. So Canvas is kind of like where you're working, and it's where you're going to be. Basically, your picture is going to be. Right? So you can draw on the canvas. You can put pictures onto the canvas, and you can all of these filters, all of these options up here are basically to modify your canvas. The layers are a really important part of Photoshop, and what it does is it's kind of like layers on top of your picture, right? So it gives an order of precedence of what elements on your picture are in front of each other, and it kind of lets you organize your canvas.
And it's also really useful in terms of like isolating your different images, or your different layers of your image. For example, if you want to put if you're trying to draw something, right, and you draw like a circle on the bottom. Okay, say I'm trying to write, say I'm trying to make a yellow circle, and inside I want to draw a cow, right? So on my bottom layer, I would make a yellow circle, and on top I would make another layer on top of it and start trying to do cow. And if you make a mistake, like on one of the top layers, and you try to erase, it won't affect any of the other layers underneath. So this is as opposed to if you didn't want to use layers at all, and you just made like a yellow. This is all in the same layer, so you made a yellow circle, and then you try to draw a cow on top, and oops, you made a mistake. But you try to erase it, and it also